Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to the channel. Here's a genre that never quite settles down. Space RPGs are bold, messy, sometimes broken and occasionally brilliant. And today we're counting down 10 of the most interesting and essential ones you can play right now. I'm joined by Tom for this one as we explore the games that let you create your own story among the stars. Whether that's commanding a starship, surviving a doomed colony expedition, or role-playing as a psychotic inquisitor with a plasma gun and a bad attitude. Now, we're fully aware a few of these choices are divisive. Some of them split the player base right down the middle, but they earn their spot on this list because of what they bring to the genre, be it scope, ambition, mechanics, or sheer personality. We also considered games like Star Sector and X4 Foundations, but felt they leaned a little too far into open-world space sim territory to make the cut here. This list is about RPG mechanics and storytelling first. There's also really story-focused games like The Invincible, but I'll be covering those in a later video. And if you're looking for something even more obscure, don't worry, we'll be following up with a deeper dive into forgotten or overlooked space RPGs very soon. But for now, let's start with the heavy hitters. Set hundreds of years after the original trilogy, Mass Effect Andromeda sends you to a new galaxy in search of a fresh start for humanity. I have to say I really enjoyed the backstory on this one. You play as Ryder, either Scott or Sarah, tasked with leading exploration efforts, forming uneasy alliances, and unearthing ancient alien secrets. While it never reaches the narrative heights of the original trilogy, Andromeda shines in its fast-paced combat, expansive worlds, and rich backstory that connects through companion missions and codex lore. You should give Andromeda another look if you enjoy deep sci-fi settings with squad-based RPG systems. I have to say, I think it was unfairly judged at launch, burdened by expectations and some rough edges, but post-patch it holds up as a solid action RPG with satisfying character builds and open exploration. If you've read the accompanying novels like I have, or just want to explore Mass Effect's broader universe, this one might surprise you. Now, it's been some time since I played this, and I actually played it through on Xbox, and I was surprised just how much I enjoyed this game and the backstory. Maybe it just clicked with me, I don't know why, but it was just a game I enjoyed at the time. I'm going to go back and play this one on PC, because I want to give it another chance and it still looks great today. Just one of those games that was dragged down by the greatness of its predecessors.
The Outer Worlds is a space RPG that hits the sweet spot between dark humour and smart world building. Set in a future where corporations have taken over space, you wake up as a colonist who's been stuck in cryosleep for decades. The galaxy around you is run by megacorps, and it's a chaotic, hilarious mess of greed and absurdity. Obsidian has really nailed the tone here. There's plenty of wit in the writing, and the dialogue is often laugh out loud funny, and it's not just comedy for the sake of it. There are characters who add real emotional weight to the story and bring some heart to the world. One of the best things about the Outer Worlds is how it lets you play the way you want. If you want to talk your way out of trouble, you can do that. Prefer the old reliable blaster approach, that also works too. But it's not all perfection. While the story and choices are solid, the combat can feel quite basic at times. It's functional, but I definitely argue it doesn't offer much beyond the initial experiences. The same goes for some of the quests. They can get a bit repetitive, too many fetch quests or enemy eliminations, which can take a bit of the shine off. In the end, The Outer Worlds is a clever, engaging RPG that doesn't always hit every mark, but it's definitely worth your time if you're into narrative-driven games with a little bit of bite.
From the creators of Age of Decadence, Colony Ship is a hardcore isometric RPG set entirely aboard a generation ship bound for a distant planet. Sometimes in this modern world, I'd like to be on a generation ship bound for a distant planet, but hey-ho, maybe in the future. In this case, you need to forget utopian space travel. This ship is a decaying political powder keg full of violent factions, ideological rifts, and dead-end corridors. Okay, we might as well just stay on Earth. You build your character from the ground up, navigating through brutal turn-based combat, reputation systems, and dialogue options that can cut off entire quest lines if you say the wrong thing. You should play Colony Ship if you're after a no-nonsense RPG that respects your intelligence. The writing is dense, the world building is sharp, and the consequences real. There's no hand-holding here. It can be extremely punishing, and there's no auto-win charisma dump, but if you want gritty role-playing in a grounded sci-fi setting where every choice feels like survival, this is the one. Now, I don't have a huge amount of experience with this game, but after looking at it, I really fancy picking it up. Now, sometimes I struggle with games that are unnecessarily difficult, but hey, I think this one looks very entertaining. Just a quick interlude, everyone, to say do consider subscribing to LT Gaming. We do pledge to bring you lots of excellent previews in the future and incredible lists which can really expand your wish list. So you're definitely going to get something from it, and both me and Tom appreciate all of you.
Space Rangers: A War Apart is a cult classic that blends genres in a few ways games dare to. It's a space RPG, real-time strategy, turn-based combat and text adventure all rolled into one, and it pulls it off surprisingly well. Released back in 2013, this is the remastered version of Space Rangers 2, and it added new content, a pirate faction, and it polishes up the visuals to make it more accessible. The game offers a surprising amount of variety. One moment you're engaging in arcade-style space combat, the next you're solving text-based quests or commanding troops in real-time strategy battles. The mix keeps it fresh and engaging and offers something for everyone. However, of course it's not without its flaws. I saw some criticism that people didn't like the pirate faction, feeling that they were unbalanced and disrupted the game's pacing. Additionally, the game's interfaces and controls can feel a bit dated, especially if you're accustomed to more modern titles. Despite these quirks, Space Rangers HD offers depth, variety and sheer freedom to make it a game worth experiencing. If you're looking for something that doesn't hold your hand and lets you carve your own path through a richly detailed universe, this one is one you should look at.
Encased, a sci-fi post-apocalyptic RPG. Set inside a mysterious dome in an alternate 1970s timeline, Encased drops you into a high-concept CRPG full of retro-futuristic weirdness, Cold War paranoia, and factional scheming. You build your character from scratch, choosing one of 5 wings of the Cronus Corporation, each with its own ideologies, perks, and narrative threads. Expect detailed skill trees, turn-based tactical combat, companion recruitment, and a surprisingly philosophical tone. Now, whether it's a space RPG, maybe I'm wedging it in a little bit here, but it's such a good and underrated game, I just wanted to shine a light on it, so we'll give it a pass. You should play Encased if you're into a slow burn sci-fi where your choices matter. Dialogue options change dramatically depending on your stats, and even small interactions can spiral into larger consequences. It's not flashy and combat can occasionally drag, but if you love the original Fallout or Wasteland, this is one of the most underappreciated spiritual successors out there, with a unique setting that sticks with you. When I picked this game up, it was a great surprise, and I've enjoyed it also on the Steam Deck, which is a great way to play.
Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic and its sequel are two of the most beloved RPGs in the Star Wars universe and in sci-fi RPGs in general, and for good reason. The first game set the bar for what a Star Wars RPG could be, with a rich story that lets you carve your own path in the galaxy, while navigating battles between the light and dark sides of the Force. Then came the sequel, which in many ways is even darker and more complex than its predecessor. It took everything fans loved about the first game and it added layers of moral ambiguity, more complex characters, and a deeper dive into the philosophies of the Force. It also brought a more nuanced look at the consequences of players' actions and introduced some really interesting companions. There's no doubt though the second game is a bit of a rough diamond. It was rushed out the door and as a result feels quite unfinished in parts. There's some noticeably cut content and unfinished plot lines. When you play both together, you're getting a truly unique experience. If you're a Star Wars fan or RPG enthusiast, these games are absolutely essential for you to try out. They set the stage for modern RPGs in a way few games have done before.
After years of build-up, Starfield landed with the promise of space exploration, deep faction roleplay, and total freedom, but also brought plenty of controversy with it. You've got over 1,000 planets to explore, fully customizable ships, skill trees, and multiple faction quest lines that let you define your place in the settled systems. Whether that's as a stealthy operative, charismatic explorer, or morally flexible pirate. Usually people comment that my accent sounds like a pirate or a farmer, and I'm going to go with a morally flexible one. You should play Starfield if you enjoy slow burn sandbox RPGs that reward immersion, crafting, and long-form roleplay. Now trust me, it really is a slow burn. I got back into it recently and yeah, you really have to be patient here. There's no getting around it, it's a divisive game. The pacing can be glacial, the procedural world's repetitive, and the main quests lack urgency. But if you're someone who loves digging into systems, side quests, and shipbuilding, there's real depth here. With the Shattered Space expansion and major updates improving performance and gameplay flow, Starfield is slowly becoming the space epic many hoped it would be. It's not going to win over everyone, especially if you're looking for a tightly written storytelling or seamless exploration, but for the right kind of player, it offers a galaxy's worth of possibility. I'm going to be honest and say I'm enjoying my new playthrough of Starfield, but we're not averse to the controversy here. Let us know in the comments what you think. Just as constructively as possible would be great, because that helps other players the most. And in this day and age on YouTube, I think sometimes you've got to be brave and admit there's games that you like that other people might not. Not all of us have the same taste, and that's a good thing.
Star Traders Frontiers is an open world space RPG that's all about freedom and strategy, and of course being a little bit of a space cowboy along the way. You're dropped into a galaxy full of factions, missions, and plenty of opportunities to carve out your own destiny. You can be a pirate, a mercenary, a trader, or just about anything you fancy. The world is open-ended, and it's up to you how you navigate the political web and the countless planets in your path. What makes Star Traders stand out is the sheer amount of depth in its systems. You've got ship customization, tactical space battles, crew management, and trading, and each one of these could almost be an entire game in itself. But they come together in a way that feels rich without being overwhelming. I think the story is packed with interesting factions and characters, and they all bring their own flavour to the table. While it does have all this depth, it does come with a bit of a learning curve. The UI can be a bit clunky at times, especially if you're not used to more complex management systems. And although the game's open-ended approach is great for replayability, it can feel a bit too freeform for some. At its core though, Star Traders Frontiers is a deep, addictive RPG that rewards patience and strategic thinking.
From the team behind Pathfinder, Kingmaker, Rogue Trader takes the dense, lore-heavy world of Warhammer 40k and transforms it into a full-fat CRPG, complete with turn-based combat, companion quests, moral branching, and enough gothic excess to make a servo skull blush. As a Rogue Trader, you wield a void ship, command a motley crew of psychers, assassins, missionaries, and mutants, and navigate the Imperium's bureaucratic nightmare, while casually purging heretics and brokering with Xenos. A bit like managing the comments section. You should play Rogue Trader if you want that rare mix of crunchy RPG mechanics and deep narrative weight, in a setting that doesn't care whether you're good, only if you're useful. I wrote in my script, insert joke about wife here. The scale is vast, the combat tactical, and the writing often wild in the best way. And with the Lex Imperialis expansion launching this week, adding new companions, story content, and even Inquisition drama, it's a perfect time to jump in or return. This is another game that plays really well on handheld systems like the Steam Deck or Lenovo Legion Go. I own both of those, and I really enjoy playing this game on that nice big Lenovo screen.
Mass Effect Legendary Edition is a remastered collection that lets you experience one of the most iconic space RPG trilogies ever made in all its updated glory. If you've never played Mass Effect before, now is the time, and if you're a fan returning for another run through the Milky Way, the remaster adds quite a bit of polish and quality of life improvements that make it feel very fresh again. The trilogy, led by Commander Shepard, takes you on an epic journey across the galaxy, facing down the looming threat of the Reapers, ancient machines hell-bent on eradicating humanity. What made Mass Effect so special was its blend of rich storytelling, meaningful character interactions, and player choice. Now this edition takes everything from the original games and polishes it. The first game in particular has benefited from this because it always felt a little bit clunky back in the day, and you can still feel the age of this game, especially when it comes to the UI and a few outdated design choices, and the side missions, for example, can still get a bit repetitive. But overall, Mass Effect Legendary Edition does justice to this original trilogy, and it's an absolute treat for both new players and long-time fans.